As is customary, whenever I get a chance to do satsang or read Ramayana Katha, wherever in the United States, I always take about 15 to 20 minutes to talk a little bit of what I call practical spirituality. Yeah. Practical spirituality. And these are topics which I have been doing time and again, especially for the young people, because, we need to offer some guidances to them so that they can understand something of our dharma, some things of Bhagwan's teachings. And so I'm going to take this opportunity to do a little bit of that. Now, when I was here 1 year ago, last year, I gave those who were here an assignment. I don't know if you can remember what that assignment was. I told you that Namasmaranam, repetition of the name of God, is powerful. It redeems one, it purifies, sanctifies, right? And it saves. I told you that, yes, we live in some dangerous times, and if you were to take any name at all, and you were with bhava, with feelings, recite this name on a daily basis, this name undoubtedly in 1 month's time will transform you in ways which you could never understand. So if this assignment wasn't done, because I will ask you to show your hands, we have another chance. Okay? So let us recapitulate a little bit. Last year, from the 20th of August to now is 1 year. Think about how many things has happened in the world or is going on in the world. We've seen the worst of hurricanes. We've seen volcanoes. We have seen floods, destructions, things which we've never seen in this lifetime. So much in just 1 year. So it tells us something. Why is all of this happening? Bhagwan has often said that these natural disasters are caused by man. When selfishness and greed overtakes the heart of man, nature rebels. Nature is always trying to put this energy, divine energy, back into balance. And in order to do that, sometimes destructions has to take place so that man can learn something. And maybe we have to kind of think of all of these things, analyze what is happening, and a change is recommended. Maybe as we live our lives, we have to think about how we should live our lives so that it can be more meaningful, purposeful. Human birth is precious and rare. Jantu namam janmam durlabham. So declare the Vedas. It is precious and rare. The Holy Bible says that man is made in the image and likeness of God. So we're going to question this. Are we really made in the image and likeness of God? Yes, we are. Okay? But what is the image and likeness of God? All scriptures declare that God is omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent, all-knowing, all-pervading, all-powerful. All scriptures. Bhagwan Baba, after thousands of years when this was said from the Bible, he said, man, you're God, you're no different from God. Okay? Vedas declare, Tat Tvamasi, that thou art. And that referring to supreme consciousness. So all scriptures are telling us that we are divine. Question is, are we divine? Are we no different from God? What aspect of our being is divine, is all-pervading, all-powerful, all-knowing? Is this true or is it not? So tonight, last time I told you that we're divine when I was here. Tonight I'm going to make a humble attempt to show you how we're divine. Okay? Now, a discourse of this nature takes about 2.5 hours. And what I'm trying to do is to take something that this long and put it in 15 minutes. Of course, there's going to be some holes in it. Please forgive me for those who know better. I may be using some terminologies which might be a little bit new to few. Forgive me. Do not dismay. This can become boring for some, but it will only last 15 or 20 minutes, so you can wake up then and we can continue with Ram Katha. So listen carefully. How is it that we are divine? We're divine. Bhagwan is saying this, scriptures is saying this, man, you're divine, you're God, you're no different from God. Christ said the kingdom of heaven is within. According to the Bible, heaven is where God resides. And if Christ is saying the kingdom of heaven is within, obviously God is within us. Okay? So let us analyze this carefully and see how we can come to some understanding that we're divine. Now, because we are divine, we suffer. Oh my God, this might be a terrible statement, but I will explain. Because we are divine, we suffer. So, first, I know nothing of any one of you. I don't know your business. Bhai Duki has been traveling with me all over in the US. When I give Ramayana, it's the same tone I use, it's the same way I speak. I pass no judgment on anybody. I am not capable. I shouldn't be doing this. Bhagwan is going to be very displeased with me if I should. So this is not against anybody or anything. But if you feel something is coming to you, take it nicely and think of it. How is it that we are divine? I know there are quite a few physicians here. Some may agree, some may not agree. Humble pranams. This being, that is you and I, comprises of a spiritual aspect and a physical aspect. Okay? The spiritual aspect is what I'm going to talk a little bit about more so. It is said that when the fetus is in the mother's womb, at about 12 weeks, something happens. In this fetus, the first chakra is manifested, the Mooladhara chakra. That's at the base of the spine. And then within the next 12 to 15 weeks, 4 other chakras manifest, which is called Swadhisthana, the pelvis area, Manipura, which is the solar plexus, the Anahat, which is the heart, and the Vishuddha, which is the throat. These chakras manifest themselves within 24 to 30 weeks in the fetus. Now here's the thing. The other 2 chakras, which is the Ajna and the Sahasra, the crown chakra, the third eye or brow chakra, and the final chakra, which is this Sahasra, the 1,000-petal lotus chakra, they manifest at different times for different people based on what you brought from your past, how elevated were you, how spiritually you are. So they manifest at different times. So it's not everybody have this good fortune of having these chakras appear. What are the chakras? These are energy centers that is in the body, right? Now remember, the topic is how are we divine, okay? So we have energy centers which are called chakras, right? And we also have energy fields which are called koshas, okay? So when the fetus is about 6 months, something else happened. Sushumna, the word Sushumna in Sanskrit means graciousness. But this is energy or divine energy or divine consciousness. Okay? What is this Sushumna is the core of consciousness. It manifests also in the fetus. I want you to think of this core of consciousness as light or maybe as electricity. Think of it. You can't see electricity, but you could think of it. And what it does, this core of consciousness comes from the top of the head, through the central axis of the body, down the central axis of the body, through the spinal cord. So think of the body, there's a column of light running through. Again, I want to show you how we are divine, okay? I may not be doing a great job because it takes a lot of elaborate explanation. So this core of consciousness, when it manifests itself at 6 months in the fetus, as it's developing, something else manifests. We have the energy fields now manifest. What are the energy fields? It's called the auric body or the koshas or the different sheets, and they're 5 in number. So you have the first one, which is called the causal body or the memory sheet or the Anandamay kosha. Now, this is the seat of desire. It is the seat of memory, right? It's the seat of intuition and perception. So it's called the memory sheet. Why is it called the memory sheet? I'll explain. Memory sheet, because of our past life, we have certain things that we have to bring into the present life, certain karmas, okay? We may have certain skills, certain talents, whatever, certain things that we need to repay for. So those come in through this sheet, the memory sheet or the Anandamay kosha, right? Now, the core of consciousness is vibrating in a very, very high frequency. So as the frequency slows up, you have another kosha, which is called the Vijnanamay kosha, or this is the intellectual sheet. And this is the seat of decision making, reasoning, and the knowledge of right and wrong. Right? I'm showing you how the body is divine. Then you have the third sheet, which is called the mental sheet or the Manomay kosha. This deals with emotions and feelings and fears and what have you. I'm going to speed up a little bit. And then you have a fourth sheet, which is called the etheric body or the Pranamay kosha. This deals with the survival functions like the heart and respiratory and physiologic systems in the body. Okay, and finally, the last sheet is called the Annamay kosha, or the physical body. This really is anatomical. It deals with the structure of the body, the bones, the muscles, the tissues. So this is this. Again, we have the systems in the body. We have the chakras, which is the energy center, and we have the energy fields. Okay, so if you fell asleep or you got bored during all what I just said, I want you to wake up to this part of it. We have also something called buddhi, manas, and indriyas. The buddhi is the intellect, manas, mind, and indriyas is the senses, the indriyas. The indriyas are 10 in number, and I'll make it very simply for you to understand. Think of the 10 indriyas, the 5 expressions, active expressions, and the 5 cognitive senses. I'll make it simple. Think of this being as a temple that has 10 doors, 5 to enter and 5 to exit. Okay? So the 5 active expressions are grasping, eliminating, reproducing, moving, and speaking. That's the exit. Okay? The 5 doors of entrance is seeing, speaking, tasting, touching, and hearing. These are the cognitive senses. Now, as I said, this is the problem man has. This defines us now, who we really are. So, whenever the senses comes into contact with a sense object, what it does, it sends this information to the brain, and the mind and intellect analyzes it, processes it, and then this becomes knowledge for us. Sense object, it sends it, and so we develop learning and what have you. Sense object, senses. Now this complete being with its chakras, with its koshas, with its buddhi, manas, mind, and senses, it has to function with a manual. And this manual is called the 5 universal human values. Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema, Anahimsa. Satya, truth. Dharma, righteousness. Prema, love. Shanti, peacefulness. And Ahimsa, non-violence. Like I said, this is where our problems begin. So let us say I use the sense of hearing to listen to gossip. Is it in accordance with the manual? Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema, Ahimsa? No. There's a problem. Because these senses, it is said, Indriyam Atma Tasya. Sadhanam Indriya. The sloka means the senses are the tools of the Atma gifted to us for the acquisition of pure and comprehensive knowledge. These senses are divine. Believe it or not. When we misuse the senses, we are interfering, we are doing something, we are taking something that is pure and divine and misusing it. Okay? Similarly, if I take this tongue and I speak ill of people or gossip or whatever, I am not following this manual. This manual of Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Premana, Himsa, I'm going against it. What happens as a result of all of this behavior? This is the question. The core of consciousness, which is the energy which flows through the central axis of the body, is like electricity. From the moment we behave inappropriately or misuse the senses, we create blocks. It's like in the temple you have an eye chandelier and you have a fan, and the electricity is interfered with, the lights flicker, the fan stops and goes. So which means there is not a continuous flow of electricity. And when this continuous flow of divine energy is impeded, however, diseases and all kinds of problems we start having, sometimes and it's physiological, psychological, believe it or not, sometimes you do all the good things and you can't make progress. You can't do anything. You're sick always, you're stressed always, all kinds of things are happening to you. And you ask the question, why? Well, if God is telling us, Baba is saying, you're divine, right? If I'm divine, I'm not supposed to be sick, right? Baba is saying you're divine. The scriptures are saying you're divine. We're all divine. Then why are we sick? Why do we have this, that, and the next? Dr. Tiwari is here. I'm sure if he tells a patient, you have high blood pressure, okay, this is the medication I prescribe, you take it diligently, and it should keep your pressure under control or whatever. Suppose this patient decides, look, I'm going to follow what Dr. Tiwari say, I'm going to do what I want. And he doesn't take his medication. You know what's going to happen to him? He might very well get up one morning with a stroke. So this body, to use a simpler analogy, is like a very expensive car. It's like a Bentley, $350,000 for it. Okay? When you buy this car, you get this manual. The manual tells you, put synthetic oil, put high-octane gas, the pressure should be X amount of whatever. This is how much air you need to put in the pressure. And you should pay attention to all these lights when they come on, these warning lights. And you should service the car regularly, on time. So I buy this car, I pay no attention to the manual. I put all kinds of rubbish gas, I use any kind of oil, and I don't even care about, pressuring the tires correctly. You know what's going to happen after a time? The car is going to break down. When I take it to the dealership, instead of costing me a couple $100, it's going to cost me a couple $1,000. Now I am stressed. Now I am dejected. I don't know what to do because simply I did not follow the manual. Similarly, with this human body, we have a manual to follow. It tells us how we should behave, how we should conduct our lives, how we should speak the truth, live the truth, practice the truth, how we should do all of these things. And from the moment we deviate from these things, trouble starts in our life, negative karma. Okay? So when I said to you before and from the outset, we are divine. That's why we suffer. If we were not divine, fine. Eat, drink, and be merry. That's it. We can't. This is divine. This is the divine mean. Jantu namam janmam durlabam. Human birth is precious and rare, so declared the Vedas. So we have to think about this carefully. I'm not here to pontificate. I'm not here to say anything about anybody, because I say this to myself every time. Whenever I do something wrong, I suffer. Swami is my witness. For 1 month, this avatar came in my dream. For 1 month, every week and rebuked me. I was crying because he was telling me like it is, straight off. You're doing this, this, this. If I listen to bad things, if I contribute in gossiping, he gives it to me. 1 month, every week he would come. So much so when I see him in my dream, I'm trembling, terrified. And finally, when I learn to know that he's the divine consciousness, all-pervading, he knows all, sees all, understands all, and he's also within. Then he comes, nicely and gives good darshan. So, brothers and sisters, we must understand this. In conclusion to this talk, I want to say one thing. Bhagwan has said, forget the past. So right at this moment, if you're feeling a little bit bad, forget the past. But learn from the past. That's number one. Don't pay undue attention to the future. Plan. But don't spend excessive energy wondering, am I going to win the lotto? Am I going to do this? Am I going to get this? Am I going to get this property or that? Don't waste time. Live in the present. Live in this moment. You have the power, all of us have the power to take this moment, this time, and be happy. We were on a radio program yesterday, Brother Faiz and I, and we had some discussions concerning some of these. And I was telling the audience, when you practice being happy, it's easier for God to work through you. Swami has said this. He said, when you practice being happy, it's easier for me when you pray and you ask for my intervention, for me to come and help you and heal you and comfort you and cure you. All right? Who likes to be around unhappy people? Not even God. All right? So we must practice being happy. We must think that we are divine. We must live according to the 5 human values. Love all, serve all, help ever, hurt never. Okay? So I just wanted to tell you this, that God loves us all. He is within us. He is that divine consciousness that is called the Atman, within each and every one of us as a bright, shining light. And if we only allow Him to work through us, to live through us, to speak through us, He will give us His blessings, guidance, and we will be radiated with His love. Jai Sai Ram. So again, this talk was not to offend anybody. This is how I always talk. Duki can tell you that. And I've never changed it. It's the way I keep saying it. And when I say it, it's not for me. It's a reminder for me to know that I am divine. And I must live divine in this manner. Because guess what? I am supposed to please Him. Please Him.